YouTube. My name is Leah. This is Dr. Maria Vraka, and we are going to do this series on YouTube where we just talk about different things and things that we're passionate about. So today, our kind of title of the little podcast that we're doing today is social media. Why is it important in nowadays? How does a person like Dr. Maria Vraka, who has a music school, how does she manage to do these things and all sort of different other stuff? So we're gonna start today by introducing Dr. Maria Vraka, who some of you already know. Hi.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So welcome again. This is our second YouTube video, um, and we're going to talk about our third webinar for this term, which is how to actually uh, help your business by using social media. Um, our piano's webinar just finished on Saturday, but thank you to everyone that came. Some of you have um, contacted me asking for a different date, or you couldn't make it for Saturday. So just to let you know that the webinars are going to be posted in two platforms, on my Patreon page and on our Teachable page, which both we're working on at the moment. So please just follow us on Facebook, and we will announce when we have things ready. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk
Exciting.
business.
Yes. Always exciting to just talk about different stuff that makes you a great company and makes you helps you to become a better you. I think that's kind of that's why we're calling this kind of HEMEC Inspire series. I think we've both found out that Maria and I are very trying to inspire and encourage each other all the time, so we thought, why not share that with the world? So if I could ask you the first question, uh just kind of in general, as a business, as a company, how do you use social media?
Um, so this is a new thing, an interesting thing, because I personally am a very shy person. So have my face on on Facebook, or just what I do now. I mean, I'm really amazed that I'm doing it, but there is value to this, and this was something that I discovered with the years. When I started HEMEC 4.5 years ago, uh, it was all word of mouth. I just told my students, I'm starting this. If you have somebody that you can recommend, please do. They did. And it was all a case of printing little posters and putting them around libraries. And it was so. Um, it took so much time after and out of my day, and it was so random. You never knew who saw it, uh, if anybody noticed. So I made the Facebook page for. I had a personal one that I very rarely went in, but I made a Facebook page for HEMEC, which I connected with some great groups that are in the area. There is a group called Hampstead Moms, and another one called West Hampstead Moms. There is another one, St. John Wood Moms. So all the mom,
Yeah.
all the mom groups, which are absolutely amazing in terms of um, connecting people. And I had so much good feedback from people that were there. Like, um, they were recommending me, and work started flowing like that. So usually the way these groups are working is every Monday or other days. I think the groups that I advertise with are every Monday. um, you can advertise your business, a project that you're doing, for free. And that has been, for the last 4 years at least, our regular uh, routine. That's how we kind of connect with the world and say, okay, this is what we're doing, or these are the spaces that we have. So I found social media very practical. Cut down the time that you spend to a minimum, but it needs, you have to dedicate time and you have to be consistent, which is something that didn't manage to do for a long, long time because I was one man band. I was the teacher, that was creating the courses, I was writing the materials, um, and I was doing. I made my own website. I was doing all the um, announcements. So I was trying to do everything by myself because it was cost effective. And as a new business, we didn't have a lot of money to invest. So Facebook at the moment is our biggest kind of social media that brings the most people to us. So that's how it has been very helpful. It has been a positive experience so far with Facebook. Yeah.
I love what you said about the how you used to do it with posters, and stuff like that. That actually took some time out of your day, and I think in general, I think loads of people kind of, especially people who are maybe a bit older or people who are kind of old school music teachers, everything is by word of mouth, and I think that's so true. And most people base their school, even people who open music schools, they base it on communications and people who they know. It's all about connections. And actually, what you said about doing that all by yourself and being one
Man
band,
band.
one woman band, it's so true because people actually all go through that. It's exactly the same for every single teacher that I know. But actually, social media could be that tool that can just help you actually cut out on loads of hours of your day if it's used wisely and if it's used correctly, to, as you said as well, consistently as well, to actually gain um more followers, gain more kind of attention. So I think it's really interesting. So would you say that the main platform that you're using as a business is Facebook?
Yes, but only because that's the only platform I am familiar with.
Sure.
It's a matter of convenience rather than a preference. Uh, I mean, I know that Facebook has a lot of negative press at the moment, but as a tool for business, it has been brilliant, really, for HEMEC. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So talking about because you said that you used to be a one woman band, yeah, and you said it was quite hard for you because there were so many things, and let's say for you, you would like you. I think you had loads of ideas actually to do with social media, which some people don't have. So, but for you, it was the time that was kind of the biggest factor. So, what made you hire a person to be kind of in charge of the social media, and what difference did it make for you as a company?
Um, so I hired a person dedicated to the social media 6 months ago, which is you. So yeah, which kind of came to me by chance because you are a brilliant piano teacher as well. So that was the first connection with us. Um, but it took me 4.5 years to find the money to dedicate to actually employing somebody to do that, and also have a professional person designing my website. For 4.5 years it was all me. It's just that we got a grant last May. I mentioned in the other video that we did, and I thought that it's now the time to dedicate some of that money to something that I always wanted to do. But what happened in the process, because it took us like a month before we started talking about, social media and all that. I mean, I was thinking of getting somebody, but with you in person, I could see how you understood the vision of HEMEC. Like you were so brilliant in encouraging every idea that I had, because we went through this kind of training for the programs that we were running, like the music programs, and then you were so enthusiastic, and you seemed to. I didn't have to explain much, and I think that's important because the person that does the social media becomes the voice and the face even if the face is not there, but becomes the voice and the face of a company. So it was very nice and very lucky that you kind of believe in what I believe, what I'm trying to achieve, because HEMEC is not just about having an early year center, whatever. It's a vision that I have, something that I'm I'm trying to change a lot of things that are happening in education right now that didn't serve me as a teacher first of all and as a mom. So it's an experiment that has many stages. So little by little we try to achieve things. So the first thing that happened in September is that, you know, there was some money, some budget for that, and then a nice person arrived, and you know, the two came together, and it happened. But I think the main reason for hiring somebody is that if you want to have a presence in social media, you need to be consistent. And I couldn't be consistent. My presence on Facebook was every 4 or 5 weeks when we had to advertise a new class, and that felt like almost disloyal to the people that were
Mm-hmm.
in my group, because what I would like to do through social media is kind of offer ideas, share videos of other people doing things that I find very helpful in my work, create things for my students and other people that would like to see something. But m- I was already working and I'm still working, sometimes 12 hours a day. So I can't, I can't achieve all of that. So having somebody that knows how to run these channels and have a program, like be very organized, and we have deadlines after so long. Now we have deadlines for our posts, and within 6 months, I went from having a Facebook page that was different colors, messy images, whatever, like the messages were coming and going, to something that looks coherent, pleasant, so people will stop if they, no matter what the message is. I mean, they will stop just for the image. And then if try to become like to post 2 or 3 times a week. I don't know how long, how many times we do, because you take care of that. I just have the idea and just said, okay, let's do that. But there's this consistency which hopefully will help people um, come to us. Like they will find some kind of interest in our page, not and not only just for the adverts. So that's the nice thing. And now look, we have the YouTube channel. I mean, that's in a podcast, and I mean it's going so fast, but only because you have to put the right foundations and build on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I agree. I think just in general, I think doing social media for the sake of doing social media because everybody does it because you have to do it is also kind of wrong. So having a kind of clear idea of what your beliefs are, I think, and just kind of having the the visuals, you know, and the kind of ideology behind what do you believe in as a teacher. There's some things that you stand for, you know, some things you hate, you know. So for example, you said, for example, for you it was important to have nice and pleasant imagery. Let's say aesthetics was important. For some people that's not what they're basing upon, and that's okay if they could base their stuff upon you know, resharing somebody else's stuff, you know, just kind of what you were talking about as well, sharing a video of somebody that you've seen, you know, or sharing this really interesting article that was written by, you know, I don't know, somebody on Classic FM website, even things like that. Just kind of, it's like a almost an intimate part of you that you would like to share with the world. But I think in general, as a teacher, there's some things that you still want to, you know, uh, I mean, in general, there's so much you can do in 30 minutes, as we always said, you know, there's so much you can explain and kind of communicate to a child or to a parent in this kind of, you know, time limit. So actually, when we did the series with the Chemic recommends, and we were recommending different YouTube channels, that's brilliant because people struggle right nowadays, you know, finding stuff to put for the kids. And let's say Peppa Pig is a bit too much because it's just the same thing all over again, and parents get tired, you know. So, but doing something to do with the screen and to do with the YouTube, let's say something that's available and also something that's educational, that's great. So let's say you are just a great person to go to for that. And I think it would be very sad if you didn't have a Facebook page, and how would you then, kind of do these things? So I think, yeah, what you said was brilliant in terms of how to they it's he said they actually, you're kind of robbing the parents of the opportunity to see the post and see what's happening with HEMEC. And especially when you have a school, I think it's even more exciting. What is the school up to? Are the concerts, who's playing in the concert? Why is this important? Have you seen the article? What do you think about this as a kind of, and building community as well as a company is so important.
It's true. I mean, for my personal page, I use my personal page as a kind of a mood board of what is, because mostly I just post or repost songs that I like. If you go through my personal page, apart from the adverts that we do for HEMEC, everything else is it's just a nice melody or a nice image. So it's like I don't know, maybe some years later I will have a look and see where I was in terms of my mood. But it's it's nice to share that imagery. So it's very direct. You don't have to say a lot. It's very direct in that way, and it's direct in the way that communicates back, because you see how many people have seen what you have posted and how many people have liked it, and so
Sure.
it's not as random as like a little uh, piece of paper on a bus stop or
Hmm.
on a board in a library, because you don't know who saw it. People might have picked up your leaflet but never, or lost it or forgot about it.
Yeah.
It's much more effective that way. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's one of my biggest thing that I wanted to kind of share in the webinar, that you are in charge of what's happening out there. So the fact that people are not engaging is could be your fault, if that makes sense. So something's clearly not kind of portraying out there. Something's clearly not catching on. That means people either is not interested in it, or there's it's just something that you're doing wrong. Let's say the quality is not really good. Let's say people don't like the quality of your pictures, let's say, or just stuff like that. So I think it's great that you said the it's kind of this piece of paper is untraceable. You don't know what happened to it. You don't know how many of people are affected. You could have affected 20 people and they thought of, oh, I'd love to do some music, or somebody could have, as you said, taken it and just threw it in the bin because they just didn't want to see that on the bus stop, or all kind of things. So I think that's the greatest tool that we have that nowadays, that actually, I mean, when I was 15, which was like almost 10 years ago, uh the Facebook was just starting off. We didn't have the things like you know as a company, you couldn't have the statistics and different things, the engagements, the literal, they just send you like a whole page of things that are, that your page, how is your page doing online, how many people are viewing it, who likes it, who unfollowed you, who followed you back, all it's so actually important. I think as a business, um that is based upon people and parents and relations, I think that's the best thing you can do. Who reacted, why did that mom react that way? Maybe something is happening, maybe I should check in, maybe I should email them. Is that kind of idea. It's actually finding the reason why you want to do it. But I think once you do find the reason, it's just the greatest tool you could have. And finding kind of the ideology behind what is that we want to say. I usually kind of, when I write posts, even the things that you said to me, you'd be passionate about some sort of link or something, and I'm having to sit and think, okay, how would I approach writing the post, just to somebody who, obviously, I don't know many of the parents that you have actually met face to face, but I'm thinking, imagine how I would say this sentence and this idea to a person, to my favorite person in the world. I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't be gloomy, or just be very short, or very, kind of. I would put loads of emojis. I don't know. I would put something very exciting. I would just grasp their attention, and I would make sure that I address them in a very nice way. Be it, I don't know, writing in a very polite manner, asking, "Would you like to join us? Could you please email us?" All these things, and I think just always at the end finishing with something like, oh, we love you, or like, HEMEC, we're here for you, all these kind of things. And or we can't wait to see your kids, or we can't wait to receive the videos of your you know pets, and all these kind of things, that the challenges that we do online. And I think that's very like similar to what you've been saying. So I think, because when you were describing how you feel about your company and how you have spent years trying to organize this culture of just love and understanding around your community, I think for me that was so important to just take that and put that online. So I think, yeah, in this webinar, I think that's why I want to kind of help people teach, because if I came into the kind of community where you create this, and I was just kind of the the messenger kind of passing on, and if I could realize how to do it, I'm sure people who have their own websites, their own pages about themselves, they could do even better job than I do with HEMEC. So yeah.
I just want to say, like, summarize a little bit how the social media have changed the the way we operate as a company since you came along, and then I'll ask you. You can describe the webinar. Um, so, having you on board, first of all, okay, we are consistent and all that, but what has happened with Facebook now is that it's almost like a curriculum that is running parallelly to what we do in the class, without being in your face. Okay, this is what we do, we are the best, this is the, just giving people, because I think education should be that, just give people like the first opportunity to start something. It's not necessarily like convince them or whatever. It's just for the people that might be interested in what we do. There is a whole library of things now on Facebook, which is great. And we are in the middle of the COVID pandemic, of course. So, in terms of having money through Facebook and new business, okay, has been slow. But I think that as soon as we go back to normal, all of these things will create so many more um, opportunities for people to come and have more classes, and they will already know us somehow without having to come and meet us in person, kind of start trusting us, I hope, through what we post there. So, Leah, your webinar is on the 20th of March, and it's very interesting because throughout our meetings, I have no idea what you are doing. I am just telling you, we need to do this. This is the idea. This is that, and you are brilliant in just making things in little chunks and sending me these calendar appointments, which I'm half of them I don't keep to, but that's
It's okay.
that's the thing. I'm trying as much as I can. So it would be interesting to know about what how would you describe your webinar? How do you think people that are teachers and they would like to have a profile on social media can benefit from what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I think it's just in general, I think I want this webinar to be um very approachable, I think, and just very simple. I want to explain things in a very simple manner, because social media in itself, as I said, that with in the last 10 years, it's changed completely. Everything that's online and all these settings that you can set and all these things is just too much for people. So I'm very aware of that, because I myself struggled in the beginning massively when I had to do different things. And I think personally the reason why I think I can explain things in a kind of simpler manner is because I've seen the power that social media can have on the impact of business that you can get for yourself. I remember 2 years ago I had to organize a social media kind of platform and create from scratch a platform for a theater company. And it was the hardest thing I had to do, because how do you find people? Who do you ask? People are not interested in that. people who are your friends are not going to follow another account that you're kind of helping with. So it's the idea of kind of starting something afresh and then building it up. It made me realize that actually there's loads of communities out there. So what you were speaking about, in terms of Facebook and the groups that you have, you need to know what are you selling, what's your product. We forget that actually teachers and schools, we are giving a product. There's a product and there's a price for it. So actually you are a company, so why not advertise yourself? People are scared of that because I think in general, as musicians, we just don't like being advertised. It's just such a weird thing. It just feels so almost wrong to do these things. Somebody needs to just know that we're great. No, they don't know. And I think that's what it's important to know, because no matter how I was passionate about the production that this company was doing, other people they didn't know. So it was up to me to kind of create something to then show them. So for example, with me, it was pictures and and snippets of videos and stuff from the musical, that was happening. So I learned from there that actually people just want to see what they're getting, but see as a little small snippet of it. So when I started working for you and I had few other kind of I was helping with few other companies doing everything online and stuff, I realized that what people need to know is your heart. Because for you, the selling point for HEMEC was the heart. So I thought, actually, I need to really understand what the heart behind this is. And the heart was just the the school is just passionate about kids. We're passionate about what they do, not just how they do, not the results. We don't care about the results sometimes. We just want to care about, like, how did they feel? Like, did they draw? I remember you told me that people were drawing you as this amazing mermaid, and you loved it because it made you it made you feel like you're not above them. They just think of you as this fairy godmother, who's just helping them find music. And for me, I realized, I was like, that's what we need to do. So after I kind of realized the vision, then I decided to put it kind of into motion. So as I said about the language, how do you speak to people? How do you speak to your customers? How would you like to be spoken to you? How do you want people to speak to you when they approach you? That kind of idea. And I thought, since we are in um I mean, obviously pandemic right now and everything is kind of online, I was like, it's much more important to be loving even in your posts towards other people. And everybody's struggling. That's not kind of like, it's only our business that's struggling, not you. So I had to kind of find this kind of love to give to people, because people had to look for something great. And so in the beginning, we just started off just asking, what makes your child smile? How are you doing today? Hey, here's the just like 20 different links of things that you can post, and just put it on TV while you're having a rest as a mother. That kind of the idea that we're putting behind it. And I think, although I just said about the having a product and you're selling yourself, let's say your lessons or your qualities, and I don't know, the qualifications that you have as well as a teacher, that's important. But at the same time, how do you encourage them when they're not in a lesson? How do you encourage them still kind of keep their musical abilities up and kind of the interest in music, even though they're not in your lesson? That's kind of was also part of it. So I think I just want to kind of show to people the reason why it's a good thing to have a Facebook account or to have the social media, and also to show them how it's so easy to use, if it's worth it, to make advertisements. Are they worth it? how do you um how do you find your audience? How does it work? What do you need to kind of think about? And just in general, I think I just, for my biggest passion is for musicians and teachers around kind of the world to know that it's okay to talk business. It's okay to talk about money. It's not a taboo thing. We're always like, oh, I want to give somebody a lesson, but I'm scared to ask for money. Why? It shouldn't be that way. And I think just appreciating your own standard, I think that's actually, finally enough, putting yourself out there and having a Facebook page is part of, like, self-love. Even as a professional musician or as a professional teacher, you are respecting what you've learned for 20 years, of your life. You're respecting that. You are putting it out there and saying, hey, this is my product and this is what I want to do and this is my passion. So I think there's loads of things I want to kind of help people discover, but I want them to be very comfortable and be excited about social media as teachers.
And are you going to talk about any kind of programs that you use and like practical things that you do that you think help with, you know, having
Yeah.
posts out, or you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me the biggest thing was what's worth investing into, because sometimes you can just get a program and it just doesn't work for you, and then you paid so much money, and all these things. So I want to physically just show people what kind of programs we use as a establishment. So Canva is number one, just to create posts, different things. When you don't have enough pictures, sometimes you just can't really take pictures of kids because of the GDPR and all this kind of thing. So actually it's important to have some sort of excitement going content. So content creation is fantastic to have. And Canva, even the free version, gives you so much stuff that you can do, and you can animate it, you can create videos on it as well, like a really short snippets, like GIFs and stuff. So I want to kind of show people how I do that, what kind of tools I use there. Then I want to also share about why it's worth investing into Buffer. Buffer is the platform that we use to schedule our posts. So actually, it's an amazing money saving, I think, and time saving tool that you can just sit down one day and just put 12 hours, I don't know, or however many hours you want to do, even in 1 month, just to put it all your posts in to Buffer. So then they can just schedule themselves, and your social media is still working on its own. But while you are doing, let's say, your lessons, your meetings and whatever, you just go about your life, but your social media is still thriving. That's kind of the idea behind it. And also maybe um I'm not sure, people I think struggling sometimes, especially musicians, with technological stuff. So there's also two very good programs to edit your videos. So sometimes I think it's great to post something, a little snippet of, I don't know, either your pupil playing or yourself teaching, or even just introducing yourself and stuff. And I think um, there are loads of programs, but there are two of my favorite ones that I think are so easy to use and so worth downloading, and they're for free. And just there's loads of great stuff in there. So I just want to kind of show people physically how to kind of use these programs. Obviously, not a full kind of full blown, what's the word for it? I forgot. Like video, how to use this app, but just kind of to show them how many different things they could use, and just kind of something that could actually help them rather than kind of come in the way of creating.
And we as HEMEC, how many platforms do we use? We have a Facebook page, we have two Facebook. I just want to apologize about my like the notifications from my emails. I don't know if you can hear them, but
Busy woman, she's a busy woman.
no, but I just don't know how to. I just don't know how to make them mute. I have to be trying anyway.
It's
Parentheses.
okay.
Now, so we are using Facebook. We have two pages, one for HEMEC, which is the studio, and one for Music Genius, which is the program that I have designed and we run up to the age of 5. And do we use Instagram?
No, we don't use Instagram, but we use Twitter.
We use Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do we use Twitter? It's an opportunity to ask you because when we talk, we have so much to cover. So why are we using Twitter? What and not
Well,
Instagram or whatever?
yeah, with Twitter actually it's much easier to find information um in terms of the organization of the Twitter that they have. So in general, when I make posts and if people reply or whatever, you can see everything on the first page. So on if when people let's say search HEMEC on Twitter, they all the posts that you can see, they just all organized from the very beginning. There's no many um kind of photos and different videos and posts, the way the Facebook is, for example. So actually, if let's say there was we were snowed in, let's say if we were doing in-person lessons, and if we were snowed in and you posted something, it'll be the up, it'll be the first kind of thing that they see. So I think that's kind of more of a kind of a newsletter, or almost kind of a news board, if that makes sense, notice board, but on an online one. And just kind of seeing, because the Twitter kind of messages, the tweets are so small in terms of letters. Actually, it's much better to go to find out exact information. For example, our webinars, they're always much shorter in terms of posts on Twitter. So if you needed to not go through the whole thing, why we do webinars and all these things, you can just go to Twitter and they say the 20th of February is this is how much you pay for this, and this is how much you pay for this is the link there. So it's kind of it's great for business, and it's great for, I think, maybe busy parents. I thought that was kind of my initial reaction to it. But Instagram was kind of more about pictures and stuff, which I thought um is great, but we just didn't have that many at the time, because obviously we started doing everything during COVID. So Now the pictures were kind of going down rather than kind of, increasing. So, and Instagram is kind of more uh, becoming a little bit more about self-image. So I think actually, if it was just for you page, for just the Dr. Maria Raka, what you're doing on a daily basis, and stuff, it would be fantastic to have just that. But not, I think from the school, it was just didn't make much sense. And I've never seen a music school do that online kind of Instagram account. So I just thought better to keep to the two.
That's good. No, I trust you 100%. It's just interesting because I never asked you about it.
It's great. You're picking
Um
my brains.
okay, so do we have any kind of discount for your webinar? Any dates that the people, if they're interested, they can use, like a code or something? Is there a date for that? Have we done anything like that?
Yeah, so there's an ongoing discount for students. So all they need to do is just send me a just the picture of the student card, just so I can just 100% be sure that they're students, and then I'd send them the discount code already, so they can just put that discount code in while as they purchase everything. There's also will be a discount, 50% discount for those who have attended either in how to be an engaging teacher webinar or the introduction to piano for preschool children webinar. So if they can just email me again to say, hey, I've attended one of them, can I please, attend this one as well? They can get the ticket for 50% off. But yeah, so these are the kind of the two things.
That's good. Okay, I think, do you have anything to add?
I think no, that's it.
Yeah,
Come and find out more from our webinar.
exactly. Yes, so great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
everybody who joined today. It's fantastic to have you. Yeah, follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We're gonna do these weekly, so we're just gonna just post them every week or so. Just sometimes chatting, sometimes just giving you different things. And if you have any questions or would love us to cover something very specific, if you have some sort of issue that you'd want to get somebody else's opinion on it, etc., we're more than happy to do that kind of podcast and cover that as well with whatever experience we can give you. So great. Thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you.